Hi, welcome back. We're going to be looking at the circumference formula in this video that will help you on the worksheet, practice sheet 10.1. We'll get to the walkthrough of that in just a moment. Another video will be cut for that one. But let's go ahead and go into our notebook and find our next available page so that we can take some notes on how we use the circumference formula to calculate various things in a circle. All right, so I'd like to start off today's lesson looking at what the actual formula for the circumference of a circle is. Now, when we looked at the definitions earlier in the circle vocabulary, we noticed that the circumference was the distance all the way around the circle. And we calculate that by this setup. The circumference of the circle, again, we're going to be using this capital letter C. So circumference, the distance around the circle, capital C, is given by taking this number pi and multiplying it by the letter D, which is going to be the diameter of our circle. Or if we're given the radius, we can say that it is 2 times pi times the radius. So both of these formulas are definitely valid formulas to use. And these are the ones we're going to be using to calculate our circumference. So we're going to go ahead and get this all jotted down for ourselves really quick. Let's say we've got some sort of circle. If circle L has diameter 69 feet, what is the circumference? All right, so there is our question. We're going to set this up using our circumference formula, and because we're given the diameter of this circle, I'm going to be using the diameter version of the formula, which states that the circumference is given by taking the number pi and multiplying it by the diameter of the circle. So substituting in the diameter of the circle, I'm going to get that the circumference is exactly 79 times pi. Now I keep saying times pi times this number pi. Yes, you could replace that pi with its numeric value, but the problem is that pi isn't a number like 4 that has this kind of definite end to it. And it's not a number like 1/2 that when you represent it as a decimal continues on with the exact same number for forever. 0.3 repeating. Pi is a number that those decimal numbers go on for forever, but they never come to an end and they never turn into a pattern that you can just repeat over and over again. So if you were being asked for the exact value of the circumference of the circle, you'd have to leave it with this unit pi involved. If you don't care for exact numbers, let's say you're an engineer as opposed to a pure mathematician, engineers are okay with, that's close enough. And so we would take the value 79 and you would multiply it by the value for pi. On my calculator, I'm using only 5 decimal places. That's what I have memorized. Now I'm replacing the pi with a 5 decimal point expansion for that particular number. There it is. And the circumference of the circle is approximately, wait, that doesn't make sense. Sorry, let me try this again. I just noticed that in my calculator, it was showing like 21. There we go. That looks better. So my calculator is showing now 248.18561 feet. You'd have to take a look at your question to see if it says round to the nearest some value in order to figure out how many decimal places you should actually have after the decimal point. The only way we could make this more complicated is if we throw some algebra in there, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. But this time we're going to go backwards. We're going to use this to calculate a radius. So suppose we had some circle and we knew the circumference of the circle. So if the circumference of circle T is, oh, I don't know, give me a number. Let's say 704 feet. What is its radius? So now we have a little bit of algebra involved here, in that we're trying to figure out the radius of the circle, knowing only its circumference. So since we've got a circumference and a radius, I'm going to use the radius version of the circumference formula, which is circumference equals 2 times pi times r. Now if you're using the TI Inspires, there is a little button that has the pi symbol on there. If you press that button in the calculator, it will put the symbol for you and then use the number expanded out to, oh, I have no idea how many decimal places, however many the manufacturer decided to put in there. So now I'm going to take this moment and start replacing the numbers that I know. Sorry, I thought that was going to be a C, but I'm going to change it to the 0 in 704 equals 2 times pi times the radius, but I don't know what the radius is. This is what I'm trying to solve for. And so I'm going to look at the operation between 2 pi. Remember that pi is just a number, so I'm going to go ahead and think of it as a number with 2. So 2 times pi, the operation between that number and r, the radius. It's multiplication between there, so in order to remove it from the right-hand side, I'm going to divide by that entire value, 2 pi, which is 2 times pi. All right, so going back to my favorite 4-function calculator app here, I gotta make sure I do this stuff in the right order. So I'm gonna go ahead and figure out what 2 times pi is really quickly. 2 times pi is going to give me a value of 6.283. I'm only going to take it up to 3 decimal places right now. And now I can go 704 divided by 6.283. And that tells me that the radius of the circle had to have been about 112 feet, with a little tiny bit more. All right, and that's how you would use the circumference of a circle formula, the circumference formula, to calculate a radius, or use the diameter to then calculate the circumference. You can do the same thing calculating the circumference from its radius and so forth. Again, this will be seen again on when we do our walkthrough.